I thought that part of it was really good. I mean, it took a little getting used to, just different in between series, but it was awesome to be able to, after the drive happened, go back and click through it, see where we fell short, or hey, maybe we need to try to get back to that play or whatnot, and then it allowed us to get some corrections made down on the sideline a little bit quicker. Sometimes you had to wait until the day after the game to get those. You didn't always see everything. Sure. So that was good to me. And then shoot the operation, talking to the QB, I thought it made us a little bit quicker getting up to line of scrimmage. I don't think we had to worry about the shot clock. Ever. Usually there's a couple times where you kind of get down on the clock that way. So I thought it was good. It's positive, and I think we'll just get better with it as we move forward.
Good. Thank you.
When it takes the offense some time to settle in, how much does it help alleviate pressure when the defense is scoring points and then also generating takeaways? How much does the offense feed off of that?
No, I mean we try. You would like to say we hopefully are feeding off it more than we did. No, the defense played outstanding. I mean they played with great energy, enthusiasm, created turnovers, gave us field position. And it was just, it was obvious you guys were there. It was just a disappointing performance on our end. Just a lot of inconsistencies, technique, assignment, just some errors that I felt like we made kind of early in training camp and had gotten fixed. And I don't know, for whatever reason, first game type deal, we just couldn't align it up. We were just a little bit off in a lot of different areas, and it like I said, pretty disappointing. But I think the guys had the right attitude coming in. I think everybody's really frustrated. Right attitude coming in back on Sunday. Watched the tape, took the notes, make the corrections, and then I thought we had good energy and enthusiasm going forward.
When you went back and looked, particularly at the line of play, how do you feel like those guys? There were a couple of those plays where it seemed like the interior was getting some good drive.
Yeah. No, I did. I still think we can be more consistent with the play, up front. But man, I thought at times we were coming off the ball, we were making it physical, we were creating some running lanes for our backs. So that was positive to see. I just would have liked us, to be able to finish some of those drives, red zone wise, and run the ball a little bit better in the red zone.
I think you went 6 deep. Is that right, pretty much?
Yeah, I think he played 6. We rotated a little bit of tackle.
Do you have? I mean, for those 3 guys, because I saw at one point you had Baldwin over the right side and Stan on the left side. How do you kind of envision that playing out here for the next few weeks?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we'll continue to do that and get a feel for it, and we're just we're trying to get those guys. If someone goes down, have the ability to feel comfortable playing, both sides of it, and then we're trying to get. We'd love to see all 3. We feel really good about all 3 of those guys. We'd love to see them just get some time and continue to get used to playing together.
Aiden obviously wasn't happy with his play, but when you have nobody with even 30 yards of receiving, I mean, it seems like there's obviously room for improvement there. I mean, I guess, just can you evaluate that and what those guys need to do to kind of step up and
yeah, and I told the offense Sunday when we met, Aiden gets a lot of the attention, and there's a lot of stuff he can clean up. He missed some throws, left the pocket early a couple times. There's definitely some things that he can improve, but I think the passing game always, it's the offense as a whole. And there were times where we had the route and we couldn't protect it, got beat up front, whether it was the back or the line. There was some, maybe we're just off a little bit on a detail or a technique in a route that just allowed us, throw the timing off a little bit. And those are just all things that you get out to game day and it's playing a little bit quicker. And it just seemed like there was a number of those things that showed up that we got to clean up. And it was frustrating on our end because it felt like it just, the last, week and a half, 2 weeks leading up into that game, I felt like, man, our guys were playing with confidence. They had gotten past some of that stuff, and it was disappointing to see it resurface on game day.
Michael's a guy that was talked about a lot in the spring and in fall camp, and we really hadn't seen much of him as soon as. He obviously played a lot and he gave the longest catch for you. I mean, what have you seen from him just to be able to be that reliable guy?
Yeah, he's been super consistent from the spring through fall camp, and he does a nice job in the run game. I think he was really our player of the game on offense. I mean, he did some nice job in those nice blocks in the run game, and then made a couple plays in the movement pass game. And I look for his role to continue to grow, and he's a guy that we really trust out there.
Aiden was really tough on himself in his post game. Do you like that when a quarterback doesn't do what he's supposed to? And what did you say to him after the game?
Yeah, I told him, shoot, it didn't obviously go the way that you wanted, and I said the important part is, what moving forward, right? Can't do anything now about that performance, but moving forward, how are we going to get it improved? So making sure that we take the lessons that we learned from that deal and then grow and then put together a great week of practice and use it to kind of fuel you moving forward. And I think, so far he's been great coming up and watching the tape and going about his process. But yeah, I know he was pretty disappointed because he'd been feeling pretty sharp at camp, and I just think that's his floor. You know what I mean? So I think he's only got room for growth, and I'm excited to see him respond.
What do you think those lessons are? If there's one thing he should take away from that game, what would it be?
I think there's a couple. I think sometimes the urgency to improve or to prepare. I think that he prepared for it, but I think he can have a little bit more urgency with the way that he goes about his weekly process there. And putting in the time and watching the tape. And then, to me, it's just relaxing and going and execute kind of one play at a time. I thought at times, we were struggling. I felt like he kind of was pressing a little bit and feel like he had to go outside the system to, go make a play or go do throw this alert that's really not part of the progression. And there was a couple of things that were just a little bit off instead of just, hey, we're struggling a little bit, go back and execute your responsibility at a high level on this next play and get us back into rhythm.
I know Jonathan mentioned that the fact that you guys coverage dictated why you kind of threw deep a lot early on.
Yeah.
But I mean, in retrospect, do you kind of wish that you kind of maybe gave him some more rhythm throws to kind of?
Yeah, and really that was the plan going in. Looking back, yeah, probably. I mean, going into the game, I definitely wanted to have a mix of it. And felt like I could get him settled down. They came out and played a little bit more manned, a little bit tighter coverage to the box that they'd kind of shown on film. And so, we got to some of those shot plays. And looking back on it for a guy in his first start, I just think Aiden would sit up here and tell you the same thing. If they're going to give you some of those opportunities, let's go take it, and go make the play on those deep throws. And I felt like there were 3 of them in the first half where we had chances for explosive passes. And whether we just missed the throw, broke down in protection, or he left the pocket a little bit early on one, just weren't able to kind of execute. And if you hit 1 or 2 of those, I think you give yourself a little bit more confidence that way and soften those guys up a little bit. And just it was unfortunate that we were unable to hit it. But yeah, I've got to do a better job of trying to get him in a little bit of better rhythm early.
How much do you think
is it encouraging when you know that most of those offensive miscues were kind of self-inflicted?
Yeah, no, that's it. And it was, our position coaches, we came in and showed the offense. It's how close we were. It was frustrating for us because it felt like, this is like going back almost to like spring ball or like our first fall camp scrimmage where you're kind of saying, hey guys, we got 9 guys or 10 guys doing it right at a high level and 1 or 2, that's just, definition of bad football there. And it was just too much of that. And I don't know, first game nerves or whatnot. I felt like we had a pretty tight game plan as far as, hey, this is our core install that we kind of carried into the game. I felt pretty confident going in that we'd be able to go out there and execute it, and we just didn't execute it at a high level. And it, starts with me and the coaches. And I like the way our guys have responded so far, and I'm excited to get out there again in Saturday and move forward.
John, let's talk about the 2 to 3 yard run versus maybe 4 to 5. We kind of watched that. Where did you feel that was the issues with the?
Yeah, and some of it you got to give a little credit to FAU. I thought they did some good thoughts and presented some different things than maybe they'd shown on tape. It took us a little bit to adjust. And I think that you'd say some of that was either mistargeting or just a technique, a flaw in technique or whatnot, something that we can clean up on our end to help us get kind of stay on schedule. And that was a major issue for us, whether we were trying to take a shot in the pass game and then we came back and it was a run that was only, like you said, 2 or 3, and we were in 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8 most of the night, which was, not always fun to call.
So Alante with Alante going down, just what does that mean for you guys? A guy that's taken a lot of reps in practice, almost.
Yeah.
Just
No, it's a big loss. Yeah, Alante, he'd been doing some really, it was really disappointing because he'd been practicing really well and had a nice catch early in the game that kind of got us going. yes, it's disappointing. It's just other guys have got to step up. I don't know that it's going to change anything of what we do. I think we might have to. Nick Marsh plays a little bit more now. Easy, will play a little bit more, moving that through. And we're still kind of trying to figure out how we want to maybe rotate guys through that slot position.
So when you said that the some decisions were alerts that maybe didn't need to go to, but in other cases it was you wanted to attack when they were pressing and so forth. Was there someone you attacked when you attacked against press that were those alerts that you talked about when he went to things that were?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, I'm trying to remember specifically of it, but it's just one of those things where, hey, this is your progression, 1, 2, 3, some of the ways where we want you, and then this is an alert. Maybe you can pull in if you really like the matchup, or sometimes those are lower percentage deals, especially when you're struggling to kind of get rhythm. And I think those were some of those things where we're like, hey, we would have liked for you to stay on the progression in those situations and get us a higher percentage throw that's going to keep us on the field, rather than, hey, if you're rolling and we're going up and down the field on people, you may want to take some of those, a little bit, makes it a little bit easier to take some of those things. So it's a fine line that way, and I think it was a good lesson for him to learn in those situations and where we were at in the game.
There was talk about getting Nate Carter involved in the pass game more, obviously throughout the offseason. I mean, how did you think you guys did with that? And then also, same with Jack. I mean, Also.
Yeah, no, it was disappointing. I thought, going into the game, I felt like we got to some calls that felt like he had a really good, he was the number one read in the progression, and those guys, whatever reason, coverage or whatever it was, took him away on some things to where we had to move through. But yeah, we got to get him more involved, and I was pretty frustrated at that. And second half, we were really struggling in the pass game, so we leaned, we were running it, starting to hit some more explosive stuff in the run game. We were moving it and trying to give our defense a little bit of a break too. So we just didn't throw it probably as much as it intended either. We just didn't have the number of reps that I probably thought going in.
Jonathan pointed to that 4th and 1 and saying in hindsight probably should have kicked it there for the quarter. How does the progression go? And does that come from him? That call to go for it?
Yeah. No, I'm thinking I'm waiting for the call on him. He says go, and we're going. And that was. We got to go execute that play. Looking back at it, maybe another thing that I would have liked to have gotten to in that situation. But yeah, he makes the call on that, and if he says to go for it, shoot, tell the offense that's a great opportunity. That's what we want down there. Is, that mindset of like, hey, he's going to give us head guys, going to give us the chance to score a touchdown. Let's go do it and give him confidence in making that call the next week as well. So just disappointed the way that worked out.
Is there some muscle memory? Because obviously last year at Oregon State, you guys were real efficient in the red zone.
Yeah.
Kind of thinking, okay, now new situation, or you kind of just, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, there's some learning on our end at what our, we're still learning kind of what our strengths are down there and figuring some of that stuff out. But it went down to, there's maybe a couple things that I would have liked to have gotten to sequenced a little bit differently. Looking back on it, there always are. So I definitely wasn't perfect down there, but there were some things that were just execution technique things that were pretty frustrating that, I felt like we just left some points on the field, and shoot, we had, 4 opportunities and to score 1 touchdown was, that just can't happen.
When was the last time that you remember that you kind of went through a game film where maybe it felt that rough, going,
yeah. We had it probably goes back to 22. We had a 2-game swing. We played USC, that was top 10 at the time. I think our Q threw 4 interceptions, and we lost 17-14. And defense played lights out. And Caleb Williams, that was one of maybe his early starts there. And we had him at home, the place was rocking, and we just kind of laid an egg offensively that way. Just kind of same thing, moved the ball at times, but just weren't able to finish. And then went right back at Utah and had another disappointing performances. And those 2 quality defenses, but those stood out to me as far as ones where it was like, man, it just kind of leaves you a little bit sick to your stomach as far as just missed opportunities and being able to do your role on the team. It was like our job to score points and move the football, and we just didn't do that at a high enough level.
Last one. Just looking ahead to Saturday, first road game, and then also Maryland obviously presents probably a tougher, more dynamic defensive challenge than the one you faced. Just what are you looking for from offense in order to help move the ball against, you know, even a
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge. I mean, watching these guys on film, they're physical. They've got a lot of guys that played a lot of football, and you know, they give you a lot of looks in the secondary. So it'll be a major challenge for us going on the road versus a top quality Big Ten opponent. And I think our guys are excited. And right now, completely the focus for us is just, hey, putting together a great week of practice, you know, and building confidence that way in the way that we perform in practice, and then go out and cut it loose. I felt like I kind of, I don't want to say played scared, but played almost, you know, not to lose and a little bit tight. I felt like in that first game is challenge our guys to have a great week of practice, trust your preparation, and then go cut it loose on Saturday, have fun, let it ride.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.